So I've been asked to speak to you for 7 minutes on this question. So in the context of your broader question, how can businesses specifically be influenced? I want to start with a thank you for engaging in this process. I think it's really important. So thank you for giving up your time. My name's Tim Maiden. I run Green Small Business based in Kendal, and we work with businesses across Cumbria and further afield to help them to understand their impact on climate and to better manage that impact over time. So, how can citizens influence businesses? I think businesses, in very simple terms, business owners, business shareholders, listen to three main groups of people. And each of those provides us with an opportunity for influence. So they listen to their customers, they listen to consumers. So as we're making our purchasing decisions, we can make the right choices, theoretically at least. Not easy, and I'll come on to that. But we can influence businesses through the choices that we make about the goods and the services that we buy. If we're in the workplace, we can also influence our employers, the companies that we work for. Many of the businesses that we work with are engaging with us, are addressing these issues because they've been put under pressure to do so by their staff team. So there's a real influencing role to be had there in influencing the companies that we work for as citizens, and also positively supporting the initiatives that they might be taking in relation to climate. Lots and lots of that going on now within different businesses. And then businesses also obviously listen to the policymakers and the regulators, the people who are deciding on business taxes and tariffs, the people who are setting the environmental controls and regulations, the people who are setting the reporting duties that businesses have, or deciding on planning permission or otherwise. So indirectly, via these policymakers and regulators, we can be influencing businesses. We can vote, we can write letters and emails to representatives of these organizations. We can respond to the consultations that they put out. We can generally call them to account for the role that they are playing in influencing business on climate change. And I would be encouraging you to use all three of these avenues. So use your role as consumers, as staff if you're working, and engage with the policymakers and regulators on these issues. But there's a fundamental problem or a fundamental challenge in all of this, and that's that it's complicated. It's insanely complicated to navigate this whole issue with businesses. Let's, as an example, imagine that you're walking into a supermarket and you want to purchase your weekly shop with climate in mind. What would you look for? Maybe you would look for this badge, the B Corp badge. If you don't know what it is, doesn't matter. Essentially, it's an indication that a company is perhaps doing the right thing with regard to the environment and other issues. Or maybe you look for carbon neutral products because that sounds positive from a climate perspective, doesn't it? Or even better, perhaps, a climate positive product. Or maybe we look for businesses, products that are net zero or on the road to net zero, or perhaps they claim to be net zero already. Or Rainforest Alliance certified. Maybe that's important from a climate perspective. Or a 1% for the planet business, or Planet Mark, or any of the other numerous certifications and badges out there. Or maybe we think buying local is important and we look for the products that haven't been shipped from all around the world. Really, really complicated. Maybe we go a step further and we start to interrogate company websites and see what they're doing, what they're claiming with regard to climate. So here's M&S from their sustainability webpage. They've got Plan A, they've got eco factories, they're carbon neutral, they're sending zero waste to landfill, etc. How do you interrogate, how do you make sense of that and understand the real impact, the real challenges that M&S are facing? Or maybe you work for BAE Systems and you want to understand their performance on climate change. Well, you can go to their website and you can find lots of information, just like all of the other corporates out there, about their sustainability performance. But it's hard to understand. It's hard to interrogate. It's hard to really get to the nub of how this company is performing on climate. Now, I know you have a view at the end of this process to developing a set of recommendations. And if I can encourage you perhaps in that to think about maybe a recommendation relating to addressing this issue, to enabling more citizens to have an understanding of these issues so that they can effectively engage with businesses on climate. You may be familiar with something called the Carbon Literacy Project. Lots of businesses are delivering the Carbon Literacy Project for their staff now. And maybe the recommendation might relate to a carbon literacy style training program. We could even have a carbon literacy program specifically for Cumbrian citizens. It could be delivered by businesses themselves. Lots of businesses are delivering carbon literacy training for their workforces anyway. So maybe we could encourage more to do so. And maybe we could have something that's Cumbrian specific to enable Cumbrian consumers, Cumbrian employees, Cumbrian citizens to effectively engage with these issues. And maybe there's scope also for another climate assembly that is specifically focused on business. Maybe it could be convened by the Chamber or by Enterprise in Cumbria or one of the other business organisations, so that businesses can hear directly from the citizens of Cumbria what they feel businesses need to be doing in response to the climate challenge. I'm already at 8 minutes. I'm going to stop there. Thank you. Good luck. And I look forward to seeing the outcomes.